Hey guys, it's me, John Avenger, once again, and welcome back to R-rated movie month. And we have a disappointment now because I have to get to this movie. I reviewed this movie last year, but I had to delete it because it didn't make any sense for the theme. But this one, it fits for this. This is a 2010 action comedy called Kick-Ass. Now, before you guys come with your pitchforks and your knives and your freaking hate comments, I was looking forward to this. When I saw the trailers, I'm like, okay, a superhero film that's not a DC film or a MCU movie, because at the time the MCU was getting started. And I thought, hey, the costume, it's an interesting premise. A guy that's not a that doesn't have any superpowers decides, you know what, I'm gonna be a hero. I'm gonna get a costume online. I'm gonna fight crime in the streets. But the trailers are freaking lying. Like, the movie's called Kick Ass, and he gets his ass kicked way more times than he's kicking ass. And this film is not funny. I don't want to hear, oh, it's supposed to be a dark comedy. Well, you can't handle violence in your comedies. I'm like, it's mean spirited and it's not funny. Let me tell you the first joke in Kick Ass. Like I said last year, a guy he dresses up as like a bird or something. He jumps off a building and he dies. Ha ha ha! That's really freaking funny. No, it's not, Matthew Vaughn. This is his most disappointing film that I've seen. I have not seen First Class yet. I didn't see Layer Cake, or I did enjoy Kingsman, the first one. I thought that was funny because it wasn't mean spirited. It knew what it was. It ran with it. It was a cool premise. This is not funny. Aaron Taylor Johnson, this is his most disappointing role. He's pretending to be American with this crazy freaking Jufro, and he wears glasses. And the first scene you see him in, he's whacking it, which I don't find funny, by the way. To his, so he is having a fantasy about his teacher, and she's like, "Oh, touch me, oh yes," and yeah, that's not funny either. The teacher's kind of attractive for her of her age, but it's not funny. The only good things in this movie are Hit Girl, played by Chloe Moritz. She is amazing for her age, saying those words and being so violent. That worked. And Nicolas Cage as Big Daddy. That is the only thing in this movie that worked. Kick Ass gets his ass kicked all the time. Half the time, he's using these sticks like freaking. I'm not going to mention, who. He's using the same sticks that Black Widow used in Avengers 2, yet he can't even do anything with them. He's swinging, he's missing, and people stab him like in the in the stomach. I'm like, wow, you are a lame ass superhero. He's wearing like a wetsuit. It's green. I don't think the costume's terrible. It's practical. It's not a CGI costume. And yeah, it's just, what Deadpool did better than this movie? It was funny, Matthew Vaughn. It was funny. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds doing this, cutting his hand off and giving the finger, people were cracking up. Him, not the jerking off scene. Like, I don't think that was funny. It was just kind of random. Him, kicking the Colossus in the junk, and him shooting people in the head, and cracking jokes, and the beginning of the movie, the opening credits of that movie made me laugh my ass off. This movie did not. I didn't laugh once. Mark Strong plays a New Yorker. Fuck you. You're a Brit. So was Aaron Taylor Johnson, and so was the director of this movie. Again, you Brits are not funny. The only three people that are funny are Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, and Nick Frost. 90% of you can suck it. You're not funny. Half of the people in the MCU are only funny because they have good directors to work with. Whether it's Benedict Cumberbatch or freaking Paul Bettany or Tom Holland. He was good in Civil War because he had good writers. If he had Michael Bay as a writer director, Tom Holland would have said some shitty dialogue. Watch Chaos Walking next year. You'll see how what I mean. But yeah, when you have bad direction, it doesn't work. The action is like really bloody, which is fine. Is thing. The soundtrack is okay. I don't think the soundtrack is terrible, but it's disappointing because I wanted this movie to be good. I didn't find it funny. I didn't. I'm sorry. A guy exploding in like a microwave and there's blood chunks, good practical effect, but it's not funny. It's very mean spirited. The scene where Mark Strong sees this fake kick ass and he kicks him, he does like a karate kick in his face. It's not funny. I was like, how did you do that? The scene where it's thanks to kick ass that freaking Big Daddy gets killed off. He burns alive because he gets his ass kicked. He can't do anything right, and Hit Girl basically just her scene at the end is badass. When she's like, I don't give a damn about a reputation, when she's like shooting everybody and going crazy, that's badass. That's, you know what? That's what I wanted to see in The Force Awakens. Just someone going to town and just killing everybody without superpowers, by the way. This is a little girl. This is a 12-year-old girl with training. Again, suck it, Last Jedi. This is how you should develop a character, a female character, and yet she's 12. She's not a freaking teenager or like a 20-something-year-old that looks like a 16-year-old. She's a badass. I wish this movie was focused on her because Kick-Ass doesn't get the job done. You have wasted talent. Like Mark Strong's wife in the movie is a beautiful woman. She's wasted. I forgot who she was. You have the guy that plays Quicksilver in the original Quicksilver in Days of Future Past, because he played him before Aaron Taylor Johnson. He's one of his buddies. You got the fat kid that was in Greek, that was the religious kid in that. You have Lindsay Fonseca's in this movie. One of the most beautiful women in the show Nikita from 2010. She has these gorgeous eyes and this beautiful face and a sexy body, and they have to force a romance between her and this dumbass. Yeah, that's not funny either. There's a scene where she's beating the hell out of him with a freaking tennis racket. I'm like, good. You're hitting the hell out of a Brit. That is always going to be good for someone who's American like me. Yeah. I'm sorry. Aaron Taylor Johnson's not funny in this movie. When he gets famous, he gets his ass kicked, and then yet on social media he's blowing up. And by the way, this movie's dated because he has a MySpace. Nobody uses MySpace anymore. We use Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Spotify and freaking YouTube. Believe me, I know all of the freaking social media. Pinterest and all that. I know all of it. Twitch. Yeah. MySpace has not been popular since 2008. Because once Facebook came out, people said, fuck MySpace. Plus, there's a lot of creepy bastards there. But enough about that. Yeah, the movie's just not funny. It's a Marvel property, so I had to take it out of my non-DC, non-Marvel month, but it's just not funny. It's mean-spirited. I know it's R-rated because, yes, it's violent. It's extremely violent. But like I said, I could see Deadpool. Deadpool 2 may have issues. It might not be better than the first one, but it's going to be better than this. Because this is just not funny. What was funny about it? What was one joke in the movie? Him jerking off? That's not funny. The girls say, I want to fuck your brains out. That's not funny. And there's no sex scene. It's just her dry humping him in the alleyway or something. I'm like, Lindsay Fonseca, you're better than this. You wanna throw yourself at a guy? Throw yourself at me. I'm way older than this dumbass. Plus, I'm better looking. And I'm not some stupid nerd British guy with freaking a fake American accent sounding like Avan Jagia from Victorious. That's what he sounds like. I liked his accent in Age of Ultron. You did not see that coming? That's a cool accent. His shitty American accent did nothing for me. Absolutely nothing. That's why he didn't work in Godzilla, because he's very dry. And he's an actor that's I can take or leave. In Age of Ultron, he works as a supporting character. As a lead, he doesn't work. He's like Dane DeHaan in Valerian. He's very stiff. He's not charismatic. Ryan Reynolds works as Deadpool because he's funny. And he is just having the time of his life. And he's given the finger to the studios that fucked with his first appearance in that character. Here, I didn't care about this movie whatsoever. I liked the trailer. I was like, I'm kick-ass. I'm like, then I did some research and I saw the movie a couple years ago. I didn't laugh once. And the movie's too long. It's like almost 2 hours. It felt like it. This is not like a fun superhero movie. You know what did this better? James Gunn's movie called Super. Rainn Wilson gives an Oscar-worthy performance in that movie. I hated Ellen Page, but she dies in it, so she's not hit girl. She's shit girl, if you ask me. Plus, I had a better cast. You had Kevin Bacon as the villain, Liv Tyler, who is beautiful. I always love that woman's face. And Super actually does stuff. He takes a freaking wrench and hits a guy over the head with it. What does this dumbass do? He swings a couple of sticks, he gets his ass kicked, and he's in the hospital. It looks like he was in a car accident. And like I said, I give credit to Hit Girl, Big Daddy, and some of the action and the soundtrack. That's it. But the story was not interesting. It could have been good, but the gross out humor, the sex jokes, this is not American Pie. You don't need to put that in there. It feels completely forced. Whacking it is not funny. I didn't like that in Romeo and Juliet. where they shoehorn in a freaking lesbian scene for no freaking reason. This was not the LGBTQ back in 1996. And you have a scene where the guy, with a Kylo Ren looking motherfucker doing this. Oh, I love you. It's not funny. It's forced. And it's just not funny. Like the movie, they say fuck like 150 billion times. I can handle that in Deadpool or Kingsman. Here, it feels completely forced. Like, we can't let this be PG-13. We gotta cater to adults and make it R-rated. That's why this movie didn't do that well. Critics liked it. They gave it like a 73%. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. That's why I didn't see the sequel. Bless Jim Carrey for doing that sequel. He tried, but he even downgraded the movie, saying it's too violent. I'm like, we live in a society where shootings happen every day somewhere in this world. So the violence was not going to bother me. It's just the mean spirited humor and the gross out factor and the freaking raunchy comedy and the forgettable villain that, you know how Kick-Ass kills him? He's flying like he's the freaking Rocketeer, and he shoots him with like machine guns and grenade launcher. I don't know what the hell's going on. It's so stupid. It's a waste, and the budget's not that high. It's not like it had horrible CGI. It didn't. It's just it took me out of it. It wasn't funny. Marvel knows what they're doing with humor. Every MCU movie has made me laugh at least once. From the first Iron Man to freaking Black Panther. This didn't make me laugh once. I didn't even chuckle. I was like, this is just so mean spirited. And sometimes mean spirited can work if it's done in a classy way. Not, oh, I'm going to kill this guy, explode him. Oh, I'm going to freaking whack it to my teacher. I'm going to jump off a building and commit suicide. It's not funny. Suicide is not funny. It's not funny. It will never be funny. It's funny if it's comedic, like when Black Widow kicked up that Spanish guy off the roof. That's funny because we didn't expect it. This is like, I'm gonna fly like Superman. Dun, 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 dun. It's not funny. It's a freaking joke. It's a freaking joke of like a Looney Tunes cartoon. If you just added blood, it's not funny. That is funny in a Wile E. Coyote cartoon. Here, fuck Kick-Ass. I didn't like it. Is it the worst superhero movie I've ever seen? No, just one of the most disappointing. This was the first R-rated superhero movie of the 2010s. The first. Before we got Deadpool and Logan and freaking, well, Watchmen was 2009. So I'm saying in this decade, this was the first. And this is the best they come up with. Whacking at jokes. I'm going to fuck your brains out. And freaking killing people with bloody fashion, which that's the only highlight of the movie. Hit Girl, amazing. Lindsay Fonseca's underused. I wish she was in it more because she's beautiful. Look at her face, guys. Nerd Pack, look at that face. Tell me if she wasn't, you know who, or if she was Jyn Erso, at least she would have sold more tickets than that freaking deer in the headlights. She's beautiful. We want that, and we don't get that here. We get a cute little girl that's kicking ass more than kick ass, and we have a girl that's underused that just becomes a forced love interest. And he takes his mask off too much, just like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Man, this movie was disappointing. I get the R rating, I get it, but it only made about $40 million. It didn't deserve any of that. I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it on cable like 7 years ago. I did not laugh once. I'm like, a guy jumping off a building dying, that's supposed to be funny. No, it's not funny. Deadpool did it better. And the opening credits said a cheap ass studio, a British villain, a hot chick, an agnostic girl, whatever, and a guy that's too good for it. That movie was funny. When your opening credits make me laugh my ass off, that's a huge good sign. That's not a red flag. Here, guy jumping off a building is supposed to be funny. Ha ha ha. No, Sean, you don't have to tell me it was played for dark humor. It's not funny. Jumping off a building is never funny. Ever. Or falling off a building. Especially if you were there in New York in 9/11. That wasn't funny. And playing it for laughs almost 10 years later isn't funny. Matthew Vaughn, this polarized critics and viewers. I would have liked this movie better if it was like Super. Super is not mean-spirited. It is dark, but it's not mean-spirited. Hell, he gets a better comeuppance in Super because you have Rainn Wilson is like freaking cuts freaking Kevin Bacon onto a wall, and he's like, "You don't cut people in line. You don't do that." Here it's like pew 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 pew, and boosh, and he kills Mark Strong, and I'm like, that's it. That's so anticlimactic. And they stole the score from Sunshine at the end, which I've seen also with Chris Evans. Yeah, this movie is disappointing. Josh, if you like it, explain to me what's funny in this movie. There's nothing funny in it. Kick Ass is lame ass. Thank God Matthew Vaughn didn't do the sequel. I don't want to see a third one unless it's a reboot with a good American actor this time. Get Matthew Bennett. He's not doing much. He could play Kick Ass in a heartbeat. Hell, a girl could have done better. Because this Aaron Taylor Johnson is not a bankable star. Have you seen him in anything since Avengers 2? No. And I don't want to see him as a leading man again as Kick-Ass. I'm sorry. It hurts. It's so unfunny. And just like the movie should have never been made this way. With a British man's perspective of, you know what's funny? I want to see him jump off a building and kill himself. No, fuck you, Matthew Vaughn, for this movie. You are lucky you did Kingsman. Because that was awesome. That's what Kick-Ass should have been. It's hilarious. I'm doing donuts. That's funny. Yeah. And the church scene where Colin Firth is kicking ass. That's awesome. He's like, that's awesome. That's a badass scene. Here, just a hit girl and Big Daddy. That's it. That he looks like Batman. That's it. That's why I didn't bother with the sequel. Also, I forgot to mention, oh my God, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, the kid that plays McLovin in Superbad. There's one decent scene with him and Kick-Ass in the car where there's driving me crazy, but he's really a villain, and then he becomes a villain in the sequel. He was fine. I like this costume. He was having fun, but he's underused. He should have been the villain and not Mark Strong, because I don't like Mark Strong. Why is it that these British directors are always casting Brits in every one of their films? Christopher Nolan doesn't always do that. Yeah, he puts Michael Caine in almost every one of his films, but Interstellar had Matthew McConaughey. Inception had DiCaprio. But then he did Memento and Batman Begins. You get my point. But then it's pandering. I don't have favoritism when it comes to casting. If I was casting a movie, would I cast only American actors? No. I would give maybe one Canadian to, even things out, or an Asian. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to pander. This movie was pandering. I got a British lead, I got a British villain, and it's a British take on a freaking superhero movie. No, it's stupid. This movie was dumb. It doesn't have a single funny line in the entire film in almost 2 hours. So fuck Kick-Ass. I don't care for it. First Class better not be like this. Because, I'm sorry. If your X-Men movie has no action and is boring for 2 hours and 14 minutes, I'm like, yeah, I'll see it once and never watch it again. And Logan's only in the film for 5 seconds. Say, go fuck yourself. That's it. That's all you get for your PG-13 F-bomb, your one F-bomb. Here, it just feels forced. But it's fine. Don't care about Kick-Ass. I haven't done a rant in a while, so yeah, if you like it, it's fine, but it's just not for me. This British take on a superhero movie just did not work. It fell on its face. It had a sequel that underperformed, and we're not getting a third one. So thank God. Thank God we have Marvel to do things right, to make me laugh. I guarantee Infinity War is going to have 100 jokes better than this freaking movie. So see you guys in the next one. I hope I didn't scare you. I wanted to let it out. I'm not asleep this time. I'm wide awake. But Kick-Ass is just not for me. It kicked the bucket right into the freaking stratosphere.